Hi guys, my name is Kinsey. I'm a lab assistant here at UNT's TECM Tech Lab. Today I'm going to be giving you guys our Microsoft Excel Gantt chart orientation. So in this orientation, you guys are going to learn how to use some of Microsoft Excel's different tools and features to create your own Gantt chart. So let's begin. Alright guys, so to begin our Gantt chart, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Microsoft Excel and we're going to select Blank Workbook. Once that's finished loading, we're just going to place our cursor in the very top left cell, cell A1. And in this cell, we're going to type task. And I'm going to hit the tab button on my keyboard just to bring me to the cell immediately to the right, cell B1. In this cell, I'm going to type start date. I'm going to hit tab again to bring me to cell C1. In this cell, I'm going to type duration. And then I'm going to hit tab again to bring me over to cell D1. And in this cell, I'm going to type end date. So once that's done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the widths of our columns. As you can see, start date and duration are both pretty close to each other. We just want to give them a little bit more space. So to do that, I'm just going to hover my cursor right in between cells B and C, just so I can give cell B and C both a little bit more space. So once you see that cursor change, I'm just going to click and drag to the right to make cell B just a little bit wider. And then I'm going to do the same thing with cell C. I'm just going to hover my cursor right in between cells C and D. Now I'm just going to click and drag. And then I'm going to do the same thing with cell D. So now all three of those cells have been elongated. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to cell A1, down in row 2. In this cell, I'm going to put import content and finalize. Once that's done, I'm going to adjust the width of this cell as well. So I'm just going to hover my cursor in between cells A and B, and I'm just going to drag it to the right, just to adjust the width of that cell. Once that's done, I'm going to click into cell A3. In that cell, I'm going to type design report. I'm going to click the down arrow on my keyboard to bring me to the cell directly below it. In that cell, I'm going to type edit content. I'm going to hit the down arrow on my keyboard again to bring me to cell A5. In this cell, I'm going to type draft content. I'm going to hit the down arrow on my keyboard again to bring me to cell A6. In this cell, I'm going to type conduct interview. And then I'm going to hit the down arrow one more time to bring me down to cell A7. And in this cell, I'm going to type market research. Alright guys, so once we have all that information input, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through each of these rows and cells and just input some new information. So in cell B2, underneath start date, I'm just going to type the 29th of April. I'm going to click the down arrow to go directly below that and type in 26th of April. I'm going to hit the down arrow again, and in cell B4, I'm going to type the 24th of April. I'm going to hit the down arrow again. In cell B5, we're going to type the 14th of April. I'm going to hit the down arrow again and type 10th of April. And in cell B7, I'm going to type 10th of April as well. And you guys can go in and fill these dates in with your own deadlines. So I'm going to click into cell C2 underneath duration, and I'm going to type 4. I'm going to click the down arrow to bring me down to cell C3, and I'm going to type 3. I'm going to click the down arrow again. In cell C4, we're going to type 5. I'm going to click the down arrow to bring me down to cell C5 and type in 10. I'm going to bring the down arrow again and type 4 in cell C6. Down arrow again into cell C7, and we're going to type 7. I'm just going to come back up here to cell D2 underneath end date. I'm going to type the 2nd of May. I'm going to click the down arrow again to go to cell D3. I'm going to type 29th of April. In the cell below, I'm going to type 29th of April again. In cell D5, I'm going to type the 24th of April. In cell C6, I'm going to type the 14th of April. And in cell D7, I'm going to type the 12th of April. So once we have all that information input, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight my entire table. So I'm just going to click and drag from cell A1 all the way down to cell D7 just to highlight the table. I'm going to come up to the green ribbon at the top, and the third option from the left is the Insert tab. We're going to select that. Once we've opened our Insert tab, I'm going to come over here to the Chart section. It's towards the middle. If you look in the bottom right corner of the Chart section, you should see a little icon, looks like a square with an arrow in it. We're just going to select that to bring down all the possible charts that we have. Once this new menu's popped up, we're just going to come up to the All Charts tab on the right-hand side. And if you look in the left-hand column, you should see a bunch of different options. Towards the top middle, you should see an option that says Bar. We're just going to select that. Once we've opened the Bar section, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select Stacked Bar. So if you look at the top, the second option from the left says Stacked Bar. We're going to select that. And then we're going to select OK. So as you can see, all of our data has been entered into this chart. So once we've inserted our chart, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to modify our chart. Okay guys, so to make the first modification to our chart, we're just going to come over here to the right hand side of our chart, and you should see three icons. We're just going to click the Chart Filters icon. It's the bottom right option. From that drop down menu, we're just going to make sure that End Date is deselected. So if it's selected, just click it. Once that's done, we're going to come down to the bottom left-hand corner and select Apply. So once that's done, we're just going to come back up to our chart, and we're going to right-click one of our blue bars. And that's going to bring down another drop-down menu. So from this drop-down menu, the very last option that says Format Data Series, we're just going to select that. Once you've selected that, you should see a navigation pane pop up on the right-hand side. It's your Format Data Series. So if you look at these three icons at the top, we're just going to select the one on the left side, our Fill in Line setting. Once that's done, we're just going to open the Fill drop-down menu. And from there, we're going to select the very first option that says No Fill. Once that's done, we're going to come back up to our chart, and we're going to double-click on our chart title. Once that's done, I'm just going to erase chart title, and I'm going to retype project schedule. Once we've edited our title, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to format the x-axis of our chart. So to do that, we're just going to double-click on the x-axis label, the start date. Once that's done, we're just going to hit delete on our keyboards just to get rid of that. Once that's done, we're just going to right-click the dates on the x-axis. And then we're just going to click Format Axis. So if you look from the drop-down menu, the very last option says Format Axis. We're just going to select that. And you should see a Format Axis section pop up on the right-hand side of your computer. So if you look at the top for the axis options, you should see a section that says Bounds. For the minimum bounds, we're just going to type in 4-10 for April 10th. And then we're going to type in 5-2 for March 2nd. And the maximum bounds. And once that's done, you can see on our x-axis, all of our dates have been edited, so that way they match our project schedule for us. So we don't have to go through and redo all of them on our own. So now we have our complete project schedule guideline. All right, guys, so that concludes our Microsoft Excel Gantt chart orientation. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to email us at unttechlab@gmail.com, and we're going to be sure to reply as fast as we can. You guys can also check out our website at tinyurl.com/TECM site. Thanks for watching.